Alright guys, good morning. I'm back again for another video, and I'm excited to finally give my impressions and review of Donkey Kong Bonanza for the Nintendo Switch 2. I love Donkey Kong. He is one of my favorite, he's probably my favorite Nintendo character of all time. I've always liked him. He has always been my favorite. I first discovered him on I believe it was the Super NES for Mario Kart. Like the Mario Kart on the Super NES was when I first discovered Donkey Kong, because he was on the cover and I was like, oh look, a gorilla, you know. So as a kid I've always liked him, and he's always been my favorite character to play as. Now we have waited so long for a proper 3D Donkey Kong game, and what's funny is I don't remember actually hating the 3D Donkey Kong game that was on the N64, because I remember at the time, like, I'm just like, oh cool, it's an open world Donkey Kong game, and here I am running around on this island smacking these, crocodiles away. That was really cool to me. That was really cool. The only sad and unfortunate thing was that I needed it was a game that I was renting out. We rented out this game from a store. It was like a big grocery store, and they had like a little section there where you can, it was like a little video game and movie section. I remember getting that. I remember how the cartridge was like yellow. And yeah, I wanted to finish playing the game, but never got to. It was very unfortunate, but I've always loved Donkey Kong. I've always had, I had the original Donkey Kong games on the N64 and whatnot, and those were just a blast to play. I remember. I think the thing I loved the most was the lore, the music, the soundtrack. I love the Donkey Kong's music has always been really good. There's something about that jungle techno style music. That's what it sounds like to me. The main Donkey Kong theme always had like a techno jungle beat vibe to it. That's like the best way I could describe it. So I, for a long time, have been wanting to see Donkey Kong finally get his biggest and best video game, and Nintendo finally did it. This gives me hope that they'll bring back F-Zero and Punch-Out and Star Fox. But for now, I just want to talk about Donkey Kong. He was finally given his epic game, and you know what? I love the fact that this was the game that they ended the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct with. They didn't end it with a Zelda, Mario, or anything else, not with the Metroid Prime 4. No, they ended it with Donkey Kong Bonanza. And it was so freaking awesome. When they showed that game, they had that first little opening of him punching through the wall and just looking like a total badass. That was so freaking perfect. And then immediately they jumped right into gameplay, showing him just jumping, crawling. Like, I'm just like, damn, look at this. He could jump and climb up through these mountains and everything like a total badass, like a total beast. And then he could just punch through the walls, punching all these bad guys and everything. Just total non-stop action with this game. I was really happy and pleased to see that, and so it was my most anticipated game. And when I finally got it and started playing it, I was like, wow, this feels great. Being able to just endlessly punch through walls and underground, and you're getting all this gold, you're getting all these other items like balloons and stuff like that. Balloons which pretty much save you whenever you fall off the map. You're getting fossils that you can use to purchase like clothes. You could purchase different fur color for Donkey Kong. You could purchase clothes for Pauline. What else? Maps. You can discover maps which will help you find more fossils. There's a bunch of treasure chests that would have some of these items in it, and you could even discover like rooms and different like game modes or whatever. So scattered throughout every single map, there's like these different like modes, like these different little layers or whatever. There'll be like tunnels or something like that, and you discover them, you could punch right through them, and then it'll take you right into this really fun mini game. And there's so many different mini games. There's one that's like a gold mini game where you're just trying to collect as much gold as possible, whether it's punching through walls of gold or mountains of gold, or you're on the Donkey Kong barrel cart and you're literally just driving down like a roller coaster rail, and you're like having to collect as many golden chunks as possible, and you have to be fast. You have to react immediately, because once the time's up, once the game's over, you get what you get, and that's it. So, because you can't go back and play those games. Other games, other mini games like that, you could replay. There's other mini games like collecting bananas, fighting, certain specific monsters, and you have to destroy them all within a time limit, like 30 seconds or a minute. There's ones where you're kind of just there's kinds of, you're just like a 3D side scroller, so it's kind of like the original 2D Donkey Kong games. There's so many different modes. Oh, there's one where you're destroying an entire building. You have to destroy this entire building or whatever before the time runs out. That one's really fun. It kind of reminds me of like the old Rampage games from back in the day, where you play as big giant monsters and you got to destroy a bunch of buildings and just destroy a whole city. That's what that kind of reminds me of, except you're playing as Donkey Kong. This is such a well-made game. This is the Mario team that made this game, they're the ones that made Super Mario Odyssey. Boy, are they really killing it. They are really freaking killing it. They're doing a kick-ass job. I don't want to hear people, act like Retro Studios is the best because they prioritize quality, or they had the highest standard of quality. Look, the Mario team has the highest standard of quality, and they have given us the most fun games so far. And look how quick we have gotten this game from when we've gotten Super Mario Odyssey. And this is such a revolutionary game. This is such a badass game. It's fun to play. It's the best Donkey Kong game ever, period. The only thing I will say about this game is that I do wish it kind of felt a little bit more like Donkey Kong, in the sense that I wish there was more of the jungle aspect in the game. Most of the level designs, they're really nice designs, don't get me wrong. They're great designs, but I do wish there was some more jungle type designs, something that makes you feel like you're in Africa or whatever. Things of that nature, But, the whole concept of the game is that you're literally making your way to the core. That's the story. You're making your way to the core of the earth to get this Bananium gem or whatever that's going to grant you and Pauline a wish. And so she wants to get back to the surface. Donkey Kong wants to get a bunch of bananas, endless supply of bananas, I'm assuming. That's basically the entire premise and story. It's not this super deep story, but it is rather compelling, especially for a 3D platformer. And I've seen some idiots and morons try to say that, well, this isn't a 10 out of 10 game because the story is not that deep and compelling. It's like, you are so fucking stupid. There are so many 3D platformers that don't have a compelling story whatsoever. But this one, it is kind of compelling, and you do want to see what's next. There may not be like big twists and turns, but there is a really big twist at the end. It's really awesome, and I don't want to spoil it for you guys. It has to do with, the final boss, and I thought the way they did that was just so freaking awesome and so epic. This game, from what I am understanding, is definitely a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey. So it's weird because it seems like this game, it seems like it's a sequel to every other Donkey Kong Country game, but a prequel to Super Mario Odyssey. And it does make me wonder if like the original Donkey Kong game where you're playing as Mario and you're chasing after Donkey Kong because he's kidnapping Pauline, I'm wondering if that game is even canon still, or if that game is supposed to be, a sequel to Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'm not really sure. It's really hard to tell. I don't know if this is just a retelling of Donkey Kong and Pauline's story. Either way, though, it's great. It's a phenomenal game. I love it. Highly recommend it to everyone out there who has a Switch 2 and hasn't played it yet. I don't know how many people have bought this game, but the fact that it hasn't really outsold Mario Kart World is kind of disappointing to me, even though it makes sense. But still, it's like, who is not buying this game? Seriously, like, the game's selling well, but it should be selling way better than it is, in my opinion. So Donkey Kong Bonanza, I believe, should be the game of the year for 2025. I know Kirby Air Riders is going to be a freaking awesome game. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm not sure if it's going to have a story mode, but its multiplayer will definitely be phenomenal. It'll be like a Super Smash Bros. Type of multiplayer. But when it comes to a single player game, Donkey Kong Bonanza by far is the best. There's no other single player game out there. And if a piece of shit like Astro Bot, which did nothing but copy off of multiple Nintendo games and just gave us an 8-hour video game, could be game of the year, then Donkey Kong Bonanza, which completely shits all over that game, that should be the game of the year. That should be the game of the year without a doubt. Way better than Astro Bot. Completely destroys Astro Bot. Astro Bot doesn't even come close. This game is revolutionary to 3D platformers. The way it plays, the concept, having to punch through the entire environment to find things in order to make Donkey Kong stronger and whatnot, in order to, progress in the story. The level design is so clever and amazing. It really shows the talent of the Mario team. It really just shows how talented they are. And I can't wait to see what other video games they make. I mean, man, imagine if they do like a Star Fox or something. I don't know. I don't know what other characters they could do. I think a Wario game from them would be super badass, because Wario World had a lot of fighting and things of that nature, and that was such a fun game. This Mario team making a Wario game, yeah, I really hope they do that. Maybe even making a Kirby game. Who knows? I mean, there's so many badass games that this team can do, and they're probably the best right now when it comes to just single player games. By far, they are the best. They make a single player game really fun to play, and I'm enjoying every bit of this. I'm enjoying every moment of this game. I'm literally at the final boss, but the final boss is so freaking hard that I have to backtrack now, go back to other maps to try to get more bananas, get more power-ups for Donkey Kong to make him a little bit beefier and stronger, because I'm having a really hard time with this boss fight. I really am. And that's saying a lot, considering that when you fight him, you're able to transform, and you're whatever animal or whatever you transform into, it's not gonna run out. You know how he transforms into the big giant gorilla, into all these other powerful animals. Typically you'll run out of banana energy, and then the power up will go away, and you gotta beat Donkey Kong's chest again to make him power up into that, and you got to make sure you're collecting banana energy in order to do that. Well, in the final boss, once you power up and turn into whatever powerful animal you turn into, you pretty much stay in that form, and you can keep switching from the different animals, and you have to do that to fight this boss. He is that freaking hard. However, even after all that, like the last boss fight, like most of the boss fights in this game are relatively easy. There's probably like 2 or 3 that are a bit difficult and hard. This final boss though, it's like, yeah, you thought you had it pretty easy all along, but nah. This final boss will make your life a living hell. He is that hard. They did a really good job with the final boss. They did a great job with the story. They did a good job with the plot twists, the level designs, the gameplay, everything. I love this freaking game. Super happy that Donkey Kong has not only been given his proper video game, but he's been given the best video game. And so I highly recommend it to everyone. This is the game of the year. Solid 10 out of 10 video game. Fuck Astro Bot, fuck Death Stranding 2, fuck all these other shitty ass PlayStation games or other games out there that people are trying to, label as game of the year when they're really not. This is the game of the year. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Pick it up, play it, you will not regret it. To all of my subscribers, I got a new one. So I'm up at 46 subscribers, 46 strong subscribers. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're going to spoil anything, just put spoiler in all caps or whatever, so you don't spoil it for anybody else. But yeah, we could definitely discuss the spoilers. We could definitely discuss everything about this game so far, especially if you have already gotten to the final mission and have beaten the game. I still hadn't beaten the final boss, so don't spoil the very ending of what happens after you beat him. But everything else that has happened in the game, let's talk about it. Tell me what you like, what you dislike. The only thing I would say, like I've already said, I wish it felt more like the original Donkey Kong games as far as the level designs is concerned. And I kind of wish the soundtrack, they had more of those, jungle techno type Donkey Kong soundtracks that we all know and love. They do have some really good soundtracks in this game though, some really good ones. Unfortunately, because you're just constantly fighting and punching and everything, it's hard to hear the music, but they had this really cool thing where you can basically buy and set up your own little getaway, which is basically just a little section or little room where it's got a bed, and it's got a music recorder or whatever, like a little music box there with a recorder just playing music, and you can go up to that and select whatever music you want to listen to that you've unlocked throughout the game. I guess the only other complaint I have is that sometimes you would destroy like an enemy and a bunch of stuff will pop out of him, like, gold and music records, but, you don't automatically get those unless you clap your hands next to them or you touch them physically. And the only problem with that is sometimes you'll be high up on a ledge and you knock an enemy off, and then, all like a big music record and a bunch of other stuff will come out of him, but it ends up falling all the way down off the map, and it's like, oh crap, I wanted that. So that's the only other thing I wish they did better. Maybe there's an ability that can help out with that. Maybe I have to upgrade Donkey Kong better to get those. But nevertheless, guys, this game is phenomenal. I don't really have many complaints. And the funny thing is, every time I'm like, all right, let me just play this for a few minutes and then switch to something else, I end up playing for like 2 hours. That's how addicting this game is. That's how awesome it is. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I will talk with you guys later.